In efforts to curb wildlife crime and improve conservancy protection, the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment has signed a cooperation agreement with private game reserves in the western boundary of the Kruger National Park. Now, the agreement will see government and the private entities work together on tackling wildlife poaching, especially rhinos, protecting biodiversity in that region, as well as improving the local economy through tourism. Earlier, we spoke to the Minister of Forestry, Fisheries and the Environment, Barbara Creecy, to unpack insights within the cooperation and its significance means.
For many years, I think more than, in some cases, 50, 70 years, the Kruger National Park has had an agreement with private nature reserves on the western boundary. And in fact, in many of these reserves, we have dropped the fences between these facilities and the Kruger National Park. Now, you would understand that we have serious problems with regard to wildlife poaching, in particular the highly syndicated rhino poaching that takes place in the Kruger, and obviously these nature reserves are also affected. We recently visited the area and met with all the private reserve owners, and we agreed to increase cooperation around rhino poaching and to form a committee that will deal with safety. We've also agreed that it's very important to look at how we work together with other land that is available on the western boundary of Kruger. In many cases, this land is under the control of traditional authorities, and how we help residents on this land to become part of the private nature reserve network. We also talked about administrative challenges and red tape that make conservation difficult in the area, and we agreed to set up a subcommittee that would deal with those issues as well.
Yeah. Minister, just correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're seeing a significant increase again in wildlife crime, rhino poaching, since the start of the pandemic, if I'm correct. I mean, how will this agreement tackle that problem?
Well, I think that what we have done is we've set up something called the Fusion Center. And what the center does is it coordinates all information that we are getting from all of our parks, private nature reserves, private landowners, as well as from our own department. And obviously, if you are tackling syndicated crime, information and intelligence is very important. The Fusion Center allows us to process this information. You might have seen in recent times, we have had some quite significant arrests. Yeah. And these arrests are not just of the foot soldiers who are involved in the poaching, but they are much higher up the food chain. We've had arrests of couriers at OR Tambo International Airport. We've also had arrests of other actors in the poaching syndicate value chain. And this is because we are now starting to use instruments such as looking at financial transactions and so on, all of which are the traditional way in which you deal with syndicated crime.